All right, so I guess we have
Late.
to talk about his Rob Jaylen thing.
Yo, I'm with him.
You are?
You don't
All
have
right.
to talk about it. You
It's a
know,
good
you know,
hot take.
do your own thing. Do your own
He's
thing.
back.
I just
good-
threw it out there.
it's a
I
good
was
hot
asking
take.
We'll talk
you
about
to
it.
the locker room. Go ahead.
No,
go ahead.
we'll rip on you for a minute. Just don't come back. Just stay off the show. You're
You
off.
never
now.
know, right? I could pop in any time. I'm right here. It's
You're
just
pulling
a
a
button
Nick.
away.
This is what Nick did on Sunday.
Yeah,
he
this
kept
is the
coming
Nick
back
move.
after he left.
If I don't like something, I'll jump back in. All right, I mean it. Bye.
It's all right. I mean it.
No, I get what he's saying, Josue. Jalen's your second best player. He's 20, 30 points every single night. He's a secondary attacker there. I said it, he was the MVP of this team this year. And there were times he lapsed defensively. I don't think he was going to fix the defense tonight, but he was going to give you another 25, 20 points. So you would have been right there, at least able to hang shot for shot offensively with Miami tonight.
It's tough. I mean,
Jimmy-
obviously,
now-
I
now
understand
Jimmy's
what
torn.
John's. I know
Now
what
Jimmy's
John's saying
torn.
too. I mean, it's obvious that yeah, Tristan Thompson's not cutting it, and they just don't have the depth at that position. They haven't had the depth. Haven't had that depth in like 10 years. It feels like we're always talking about a lack of depth at the center position. So I understand what he's saying, but it's hard to make the case that Rob would have the same
So here's
impact
the
as Jaylen
question.
Brown, at least as good Jaylen Brown. The problem is we get some days Jaylen Brown is Bobby's MVP, and other days he's standing on the sidelines
All right,
wondering
but what
why
if
he's
it's
not being.
what if it's
involved.
March Rob Williams, right?
Yeah.
March Rob Williams was a savage.
I know.
What
he's a
was it?
beast.
10-10, 3 blocks a night.
He ran this show for
the
like
entire month. He did that.
Does
Well, he
Rob-
missed a few games, but for the most part of March, he did that.
Does Rob significantly raise the defensive ceiling of the team is the question you got to ask there. For stretches, he did.
Well, again,
He
that's
helps,
why I'm
definitely.
talking about March Rob, because I think if
Yeah.
you're talking about March Rob, you got a legitimate argument there.
They
But
were playing
obviously-
great defense then.
Obviously, you still lose a lot of scoring power, but I mean, I just think his energy is somewhat contagious when he's healthy, right? Like we knew he wasn't healthy, like before they actually started taking him out of game, because you could just see it. Like the energy wasn't the same, but when he was himself, I honestly, on both ends of the floor, I think it resonates with his teammates, and I think, in this situation, maybe you win a few more playoff games. I'm not quite sure it's going to put you in a space to win a whole playoff series, whereas Jaylen Brown probably going to help you win a playoff series, but you change the way you play in a sense, though, right? What do
You
guys
need
think?
both. You need both,
You do
really,
need both.
because
Realistically, you
Rob's-
need both. Yeah, to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, you need both.
Jalen's a ceiling raiser. Rob's doing little things that you need, and the little things always matter. Again, we've talked about how the Celtics have almost ignored little things when it comes to how they're putting this roster together. Where's your passing specialist? Where's your defender off the bench? Where's your veteran off the bench, the veteran presence? Rob, fortunately for them, filled the passing help that they needed, was a vertical spacer, so he helped make other guys better. From what John's saying, did anyone make their teammates better this year than Rob did? Like he always helped guys when he was on the court. That almost was his intention when he came out.
His offense was so underrated because it's not about him putting the ball through the hoop. It's just whether it was the passing or whether just his mere presence of having someone to lob the ball, into the paint and create, because he would, double teams come around him or just he has the skill set to pass that ball out, and he's a good passer for a big man. He certainly improved that part of his game, and you saw how much it impacted the offense overall.
He can come back still too. Like, it's turf toe. Like, give him that week, he'll probably feel a little bit better. I don't think he'll be 100%, but he could be ready for that playing game. And it's just how much of an impact does that make upon return?
Yeah,
I think it would
like
make
what Brad
pretty,
said. He's game time decisions every single game at this point.
Yeah, I think it would make a huge impact. I mean, he was a great passing big. I mean, he opens things up. He runs the floor. He gets guys going. Like they can sort of work the ball through him on the offensive side. There, has a really good connection. He had a really good connection with Tatum going for a while,
Right.
and he just kind of makes them younger out there. And obviously, we know what he can do athletically more than anybody else on the team, and probably most of the league. The way he can get up and block shots and rip down.
We don't even talk
boards.
about that enough. The lob, the constant threat of an alley-oop can really rattle a defense. We saw that, especially those 500 teams like the Celtics.
That poster, remember the poster they put out there, Josue, advertising the show with Max. Now look what they're doing with your name.
Oh yeah.
What do you mean?
Oh, the chat.
John,
chat.
Jimmy, Bobby,
Boo.
And Juice. From Juice, man.
I didn't see it on the screen, but I saw it in the chat, and honestly, I didn't even notice he was misspelled.
Juice.
Yo, that's your rod one. I honestly, Bobby, when you sent the text, I was just like, "What's wrong with that?" I thought you were talking about the pick. I'm like, "What's wrong with the pick?" And then I was like, "Oh wow,
And
they
that
spelled
was-
my name wrong." They
Yeah,
spelled my
that
name
was
wrong.
me. I was like, I can't
Oh
believe
no,
they
you
did
said that. Yeah,
I was like, I
like,
can't believe they did Josue
they
like
did
that,
him
man.
dirty or
Yeah.
something like that. And I was like, "What do you mean?"
Either Juice or House.
But you were the second comment, and if you didn't say that, I wouldn't have double checked the way I did. That's when I caught it. I was like, "What the hell?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're great with the posters.
Bobby, you keep saying that
Jouse.
Jaylen's your
Joust.
MVP, and you're like adamant about it. I just find it so difficult. It's so hard for me to even name an MVP.
No, yeah,
On this
you just kind of have to do it. You know,
I just
I guess.
I don't even want to give it to him. I don't even know who I get.
So
I'll tell you what.
They're such an AAU team, man.
I'll tell you
They're
what.
like-
I'm like
the guys put
I'm like
together.
somewhat close to giving it to Kemba Walker. That's.
Look at Bobby's face.
you
I don't
can't
think
do that.
I can't. I can't because he did struggle for a stretch and obviously he missed time. But the way he's sort of come on in the second half of the season, he's to me been like their most consistent guy, and he's been the guy that I think has like stepped
Yeah,
up.
but
and,
availability
like, sort of
matters
led.
a lot for MVP.
Yeah, I know, but sometimes these guys are available physically, but they're not so much
All right,
available.
so
mentally.
let's be real with what Jaylen did this year. He wasn't in a frontline position, so a lot of times he wasn't even dictating the outcomes of these games. But he came into this year massively better than he was last year. Carried the team through the early missing time there. Raised his game as a passer, and frankly, at times that he struggled, he just seemed to be banged up. I think that he just kind of wore
No,
down.
I think you got to give it to him. It's just hard for me to because the same player you're giving the MVP to is the same player that people are criticizing left and right, along with Tatum, because of the way that they've, sort of led the team or not led the team this year for whatever reasons you want to give. Obviously, they've improved, and I mean, I'm not saying that Kemba Walker is more valuable than Jaylen Brown is, but it's just hard for me to just be like, oh yeah, he's the MVP. But it's more of an indictment on the team that this is how we're wrestling with that award, because it's just hard to feel like there even is one, I guess, the way it's gone this year. The way it's
like this team doesn't deserve an MVP.
Right. Like there's not really been a valuable
No,
very valuable
I guess
player.
sometimes.
What were we talking about the other day? Like, which one of these players make their team better or make the
Right.
teammates better? Like, that
Right.
shouldn't be a question. Like, it should be at least two names that automatically come to mind. And we don't have that. Like, it just hasn't been the case.
Right.
Rob we discovered that. Probably Rob is that guy who's made everyone better or people better.
Hi guys, Cedric Maxwell here. I want to take a minute to tell you about Marigold Medical. I'm used to keeping my body in great shape, but with arthritis, even the most simple everyday tasks became unbearable. As soon as I called Marigold Medical, I knew I was in good hands. No drugs, no surgery, just an experienced team of caring professionals that wanted to get me back to doing the things I love. Make the call to Marigold Medical and get back to pain-free life.